Joe. Please stop.
No, I won't.
No, don't. How's everybody doing?
Good. Very best.
Hey, this is a great place, huh? The Somedays, my first time here. It's a pretty cool place.
Super cool.
Thanks to all my friends for coming. Did you guys all get your checks? They're coming, I promise you. Hey, can you guys do me a favor and make sure you tip your lovely bartender? And let's give Mary Suzanne and Murr a big hand for putting this together. Yeah, it's really important, you guys, when you order drinks to take care of your bartender. So let's all do that, make sure she's well taken care of. I know that for a fact, because I was a bartender for many years. I raised my son, actually, on a bartender salary. I think he's here. Where is he?
Right here!
Stand up, Nick. Yes, that is my son, not my brother. We actually went to, he just transferred to Santa Monica Art Institute. I'm very proud. Thank you very much. He's a filmmaker. We went to the Price is Right when we were looking at the campus. And we actually had shirts made that said, "No, she is not my mother." And my shirt said, "I'm really his mother." Or, I'm sorry, the shirt said, "No, she's not my sister." And my shirt said, "I'm not his mother." Because there's always a question about that. I don't know why. But anyway, I used to be a bartender for many, many years. I think my friend Mitch is here. We worked together at the lovely Sherry's. We try to keep it on the down low.
Sherry!
Go Sherry's! Ah!
They have good Marion berry pies.
They do have pies, yes they do. And I'm pretty convinced that people that eat out are leave their brains at home. No offense to any of you guys, but some people are like not the most intelligent people. They ask me the stupidest questions. Like when Mitch and I worked at Sherry's, people would walk in the door and they'd be like, "Are you guys open?" And we're like, "No, we're closed." They'd like turn around and walk out, and we'd be like, "Well, if you're that stupid." I was the manager, so I worked the graveyard shift, and people would call on the phone and they'd go, "Hey, what are your hours?" And I would say, "Oh, we're open 24 hours. Well, I learned after a couple of phone calls to clarify that we're open 24 hours, all day, every day. We never close. So people would call me up and say, of course, "Are you open?" Which of course would be, replied by, "Yes, we are." So one day, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing the books, and this lady calls and she says, "Are you open?" I said, "Yeah, we're open 24 hours, all day, every day. We never close." "Are you open on Christmas?" "Is that a day?" Yeah. People would sit down. "Hi, how are you? I'm Jill. Welcome to Sherry's." Hand them the menu. "Is this your menu?" Actually, McDonald's just opened across the street, so we'd like to promote them. "Yes, that's our menu." Yeah, my very first job was at the Portland airport. I worked there for my first bartender job. So I worked there for about 5 years. My son was really small then, so I had this great opportunity. I totally lied on my resume. My friend worked there, and she's like, "Oh yeah, just totally just bullshit your way through the interview." Because bartending, as I discovered, is about 95% personality and bullshit, and about 5% drink knowledge, which I discovered early on. Now keep in mind, this was in the days before security, the days before TSA, before you had to give a blood sample and your firstborn child and your dog and your social security number and a body cavity search to get to the fucking bar for the goddamn drink you need so badly because you just went through the hell to get there. So I was there about 2.5 years. We just had 5 little cafe kind of sandwich places and 1 sit-down bar, and I, worked my way up to the manager. So we had a phone that we could call each other, the bartenders, if we had any questions or a keg was empty. So I'm working and the phone rings. I pick up the phone and it's the bartender from across the way. And one thing I forgot to mention was that the airport was famous for hiring people from the Bartenders Academy. Now my advice, if you want to be a bartender, go down to Pal's Books and buy a Bartender's Bible for $2.95 because you'll save yourself about $1,500. So this guy was fresh out of the Bartenders Academy and he calls me and he's like, hey, can you help me make a drink? I'm like, sure, what do you need? How do you make a Jack on the Rocks? What? How do you make a Jack on the Rocks? Okay. Take your glass. Okay, what glass? It's a little short glass. Take your ice. Scoop it with one hand. Put your ice in the glass. Okay, I got, now what do I do? Find your Jack Daniels. Okay. Pour it in the jigger. Okay. Pour it in the glass. Put a straw in it. Give it to your guest. That's it? Well, I can do that. Okay, well, great. He's like, where's the rocks part? That's your ice, dude. Go back to the academy. Write him another check for $500. Maybe you slept in on ice versus rocks class. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I did find out, as you know from my Sherry story, that it's not just the employees that are stupid. It's oftentimes the people that travel. I do believe that they leave their brain in their carry-on luggage, or their luggage, not the carry-on luggage, the big luggage that goes under the plane, not to be retrieved until they land at their destination.
That's what I do.
I worked at a place, this was when the food court first started, and I worked at a little place called Red's, and we had, it was kind of like a Sbarro's with beer and wine. We had pizza by the slice, cheese, pepperoni, Hawaiian. We had 40 beers on tap featuring all of, your Portland microbrews, because don't we have the most amazing microbrews here in Portland? So, we wanted an opportunity for travelers to experience that. So people would order their pizza and they would come over and they would, sit and they would get a beer for me. So we also offered 8-inch individual pizzas. Now there's a gigantic plaque, like that one. 8-inch individual pizza with all of the ingredients listed for you to customize your order. How big is your 8-inch pizza? I'm sorry, what? How big is your 8-inch pizza? Well, do you want me to use a man's ruler or a woman's ruler? Because there's a significant difference. I'm just saying, ladies, you feel my pain, right? That would be 8 inches. How big is that? It's about a fucking foot. It shrinks in the oven. Really? Yes.
It shrinks in the oven.
So this guy comes in once and he says, how many does that feed? I'm sorry, do you not have your big word dictionary with you? Individual means one. I know, it's a big word. How many slices can you cut that into? 32. I can't eat 32 slices. Okay, how about 4? Perfect. Fantastic. I'm just saying. And then of course, they walk over to the beer and then beautiful taps all the way around the bar. Do you have beer on tap? No, those are just for decoration. I did get one lovely guy once. He comes in and he looks at all the taps and he's pretty impressed at all the beer that we have, and he looks and thinks for a minute. Do you have Corona? We did have some domestic beer, so it wasn't necessarily unusual that they would order a Corona. However, Corona, as far as I know, in all the places I've ever worked, it does not come on tap. And at the airport, they have a policy that they don't serve bottled beer, only on tap, because, they don't want you sneaking it into the plane. So I'm like, sir, Corona only comes in a bottle, and we have all tap beers. What can I get for you? What domestic beers do you have? Bud Light, Miller Genuine Draft, Coors Light. I didn't hear you say Corona. It's because Corona only comes in a bottle. You don't have Corona? Sir, we have 40 beers on tap. Do you need a minute to look at the menu? Looks over the menu, thanks. Have you decided what you're having? You had like a Corona. Great, let me go get that for you. Oh my God, the Corona's empty. Okay, I'll just have a Budweiser. Perfect. I'm telling you. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to the airport. Anybody travel? Travelers? Anybody travel?
A bit.
So you know pretty much anywhere that you're going to sit in any given restaurant in the airport, you're going to be able, to have a window seat and see the planes. So of course I had people say, can I have a window seat? I'm like, sure. Sometimes it just got so old, I was like, would you like me to get out my glass cutter and cut a hole in the wall, put you on the tarmac, if that would help you? I also had, the closest gate to me was Alaska Airlines. So every day I would stare at the big, who knows who's on the back of Alaska Airlines? Anybody? The big face?
Eskimo.
Inuits.
How many people are here? Like 65, 100 people? So 100 of you know that is an Eskimo, okay? I have 100 witnesses.
Inuit!
Woo! So of course, I'm working away. This guy sits down, orders his beer. He stares at the plane for like 10 minutes. What's he looking at? Is he waiting for the plane to go? Is he thinking it's arriving? What is he doing? He stares at them forever. Can I ask you a question? Sure. Who's that on the back of Alaska Airlines plane? Really? Now, it was about a Tuesday afternoon. I'm feeling particularly sassy that day because someone had just asked me to put it on the monitor channel on the TVs. And I was like, what? Can you put that on the monitor channel? Okay, that's Comcast cable. Well, I need to check my flight. Can you put it on the monitor channel? Okay, what cable do you have at your house? Comcast. Do you have that fucking monitor channel? No. So I'm a little bit sassy, so Jerry Garcia, the Deadhead singer, he had just died like 4 months ago. So this is fresh in my brain. So I'm like, that's Jerry Garcia. He's like, really? I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, why is Jerry Garcia on the back of Alaska Airlines plane? Well, the CEO of Alaska Airlines, huge deadhead. He was so devastated when Jerry Garcia died. Did you know that he stopped all of the flights that day? The guy's like, no fucking way. I'm like, yeah. He's like, that is amazing. I know. He is like on his phone texting everybody, putting it on Facebook. Half an hour goes by, that's a fucking Eskimo. No shit! I was like, if you're gonna ask me. I think he still, to this day, is trying to figure out why I told him it was Jerry Garcia. It's like, have another beer. Good times. I do have a couple stories, not necessarily funny from the airport, but one time a SkyCap comes in and he tells me that SkyCaps, the guys that check your luggage in at the corner. Now, this was again the day when they used to put it right on the conveyor belt, right? So SkyCap comes in one day and he's sharing me this story and he says, this guy came in. His wife drives him up, kisses his wife goodbye, hands the guy his luggage, gives him a $50 bill, and he says, just put my luggage behind the counter, don't put it on the conveyor belt. Says goodbye to his wife, she drives off. Walks up to the counter to get his bag. You know where this is going, don't you? Gets his bag, hot chick in a sports car comes riding up, puts the bag in the sports car, starts making out with her, up drives the wife. Left his jacket in the car. I know, sad face, right? Not so funny, but it was funny to me. I was laughing. My favorite all-time question that I get from people, is that your real voice? I don't even fucking know what that means. I'm like, no, this is my work voice. My real voice is at home in a drawer right next to my underwear. It's safe. What does that mean? And my name is Jill, as you know, and so you can only imagine. Well, first of all, my last name is Tzeker, so what the hell did I do to God to piss him off? Thought I would have married out of that name 20 years ago, but no. When I was in high school, people used to call me Tit Sucker. Later in life, did I realize how handy that came in. So, you know, you get your people, hi, my name is Jill, I'm your waitress. And this only happens with the guys. You guys know you're thinking it. I'm Jack. That stupid look, like they're the only person that ever thought of that in their life. Like, dude, maybe we should change the nursery rhyme and your ass should fall down the fucking hill. Christ. Has anybody ever heard of Beaches Restaurant?
Yeah.
In Vancouver, the greatest restaurant. I highly recommend it. After I left the airport, I went to Beaches. Now, as you guys know that have been there, it's right on the Columbia River. It's a beautiful restaurant. It's so much fun. Most fantastic crew. And it's right on the river, so you can look over and you can see, apparently Canada. Is that Canada? No. Well, aren't we in Vancouver? Vancouver is in Canada! We have this great patio seating, so people would say, can I sit on the patio? Sure. I'm walking them through the restaurant, taking them out to the patio, talking about our specials. Do you have any questions? What's the weather like on the patio? Same as it was in the fucking parking lot. The little lady comes in, sits down, and one day in August, super hot, you know, that really hot week we have all the time in the beginning of August. How are you doing? It's really hot out here. I know, it's like 103. Can you turn on the air conditioning? What? It's really hot. Can you turn on the air conditioning? We're in the fucking patio. Would you like me to call Mother Nature on the dock phone out on the river? So she got pissed and she left because we didn't have air conditioning on the patio.
Aww.
I was really concerned about that. Looks like I only have a couple of minutes left, so I'm actually here to plug my book, which is called How Big Is Your 8-Inch Pizza? And Other Profound Questions. My Life as a Bartender. So every time I go out, I always ask the waiter, the waitress, or the bartender, you know, what's your favorite story, or what's the stupidest question anyone's ever asked you? And one of my favorite stories is my best friend Taylor, who's also here. Taylor, give her a hug. If you've ever been to El Gaucho's, you know that it's a little bit higher class, not your Sherry's crowd that Mitch and I got.